Yesterday, Bitcoin closed its 10th green daily candle in a row, and I believe that is a record. I can't even remember the last time that happened. And if we're taking a look at the structure since the beginning of the year, if you mark up that 42K peak and the June peak, we can see that now Bitcoin is actually starting to push up above these levels. We're setting new higher highs on the macro structure. Printing higher highs on the Bitcoin daily chart is extremely bullish. And it seems right now that this may continue. We may actually soon see a breakout and a push towards the $50,000 level. Things are changing fast for the Bitcoin market. Now, just to keep my bullish bias in check, if you draw a trend line from the 3850 low from the March crash and you line it up with the $30,000 bottom, you can see that we do clearly have a macro upward sloping trend line here, and we are currently below it. If we do end up closing the weekly below this trend line and we actually start to see rejection from this point, that would be a potential bearish signal. At that point, the recovery would be in question. If we start seeing lower highs again, that would be a very bearish signal. It would show that Bitcoin would be losing momentum at that point, and we could actually look for, new lows again. But in my opinion, it's more likely that we will actually break above this structure and actually reclaim that trend line in the coming weeks. I saw this metric today, which was absolutely mind-blowing. If you're looking at the Bitcoin balance on exchanges across all the top exchanges, we can see that over the past 4 days, we've seen the most dramatic drop in Bitcoin balance on exchanges, far more dramatic than anything we saw on the run from 10K all the way to 60K. In just the last 4 days, we've seen minus over 100,000 Bitcoin leave exchanges. And as we know, when Bitcoin leaves exchanges, that is fundamentally bullish. It means that people are looking to hold for the long term. So we are seeing stronger accumulation for Bitcoin now than almost ever before. Looking at Bitcoin on the weekly chart, we're currently flirting with the $42,000 level. This is a really key level that a lot of people have been waiting to see Bitcoin break, and technically on the lower time frames, we have already broken 42,000. And it's pretty clear that 30,000 is likely to be at least a multi-month bottom, if not a long-term bottom. This market structure right now is showing all the signs of a major market bottom. Now, this is a screenshot from a Twitter conversation I had with one of my followers, and the person said the biggest pumps can happen in a bear market. Cautiously watching here. And my response to this was, true, but the fact that we stayed at 30K allowed for more accumulation as opposed to 2018 where we rapidly bounced off of each low, allowing for more distribution. So my biggest argument about the comparison and why we are more likely to be in the middle of this bull cycle and that we're more likely to actually see continuation into new higher highs is that if you're looking at the 2018 market structure, after we came off of the 20K top, we came all the way down to 6,000 only to spend less than a week at those low points and closing the weekly well above that low. And after we got this major bounce to the upside, this allowed for more distribution at higher levels, right? We moved down, spent just a week there, bounced up, more distribution at higher levels, lower highs, same thing on the next one. We spent 2 weeks down there, bounced up, right? So there was just a lot of time for distribution on the bounces in 2018, putting us in that descending triangle formation. And if you compare that to what's happening now, it's a lot different. Bitcoin came off of this high, dumped, and we've really just been spending a lot of time sideways. Not really that much time for distribution. This area allowed a lot of time for accumulation. And according to a traditional technical analysis, the more time you spend at a price level, the bigger of a resistance or a support it becomes. So we spent more than 2 months testing this low point here, which means it's more likely to be a strong support now that we've actually gotten a bit of a breakout. So it's going to become increasingly more difficult to actually break down below 30,000. I think it's extremely unlikely at this point. In my opinion, the long-term narrative is looking really good here for Bitcoin as long as we can close a weekly above the 42,000 level. And also now looking at the 21-week EMA, this is a very historic, obviously moving average for Bitcoin. A lot of people make the argument that if you're below it, it's a bear market, which in my opinion, we never really entered a bear market for Bitcoin. It was just a correction in between a longer term uptrend. And actually now it's proving to show that everything below the 21-week EMA was actually just an accumulation point. And now this weekly is very likely to close above the 21-week EMA, another bullish signal. And as many of my loyal followers know, Since I called the bottom at 30K around May 18th, May 19th, since then I've gotten a lot of criticism from the bears for calling this as a low point. And now that it's very obvious that this is some kind of low point, that call actually was correct, I went to Twitter to send out a message, and I said the past week was a big lesson for the skeptics and the bears. Even if you think there is downside coming, it's a good idea to always have a long-term hodl bag as a form of insurance in case your ideas are wrong. And I think that's a really good point, because right now, looking at the weekly chart with the stock to flow model pulled up, according to traditional Bitcoin cycles, we still have a lot of time to move up. Even though Bitcoin is sort of outside of the stock to flow model here, it doesn't mean that it's invalid. If Bitcoin does get a move up to that high and we get a breakout and we play out the 3 peaks in a domed house pattern that we talked about here on this channel, we still have potentially at least another 6 months, guys, to the upside. We have a lot of potential upside coming in the next half year. And now, with that being said, you guys know that I thought that this cycle was likely going to top out sometime in the summer. Clearly, that's, probably going to be wrong, right? So even though my 30K bottom call was correct, my longer term market peak call has been proven wrong at this point. And it's more likely that this cycle is probably going to end sometime near the end of the year, if not sometime in 2022, early 2022. So the message about this video is, just be prepared. Be prepared for more upside. This cycle is likely not over anytime soon. Since Bitcoin dropped to that 30,000 level, the fundamentals have only gotten 10 times stronger, and countries are actually making Bitcoin legal tender. And as hard as it is for some people to believe, we are still early in this market, guys, right? We are still early. So the main goal right now is accumulating at good levels and then getting ready to figure out an exit plan, an exit strategy in the next 6 months. Once Bitcoin gets up into that 6-figure range, it's likely going to be too expensive for the market to sustain itself at those levels. And that's really when you're going to want to be looking to exit this market. And once again, guys, it's important to follow the money, right? Follow the money. It is likely that we're going to see new all-time highs in the next few months. Looking at the amount of rapid accumulation taking place on Bitcoin exchanges, it is extremely likely that we're going to see continued upside for this market. The bullish narrative has not changed. Guys, now that we're seeing some bullish action in the market, I had to change my profile picture, change it up a little bit. And so now my profile picture is me wearing these green pump glasses. I think these green pump glasses are a lot cooler than laser eyes. So I'm trying to start a new trend here. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button, subscribe, hit that big red subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video.